We'll finish up with the Masters class, and earlier we spoke to the winner last time out, the champion for the past 2 years, Joe Patterson, to ask how John Viger's comments about him at round 1 has fired him up to take the title in 2015.
Joe, you mentioned on the podium last time you wanted to have a word with John Viger about his comments. Round 1 he stated that you weren't going to win the series. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he can say what he wants, but obviously I know we're good enough to do it. Obviously we've done it last 2 years, but we miss a round through family commitments.
Are you worried at all that you might that your competitors might catch you up completely and overtake you in the championship by missing a round?
Well, I've got 2 guys in front of me at the moment, but we went from 13th in the championship, bang, straight to 3rd. So we need a good round this weekend, and obviously minimise the deficit. But hopefully they might have a shock around. You never know. But either way, I'm confident in myself and John, my mechanic, that we can be consistent and win the next races as of when we're back.
How does this track suit your style? It's nice and twisty. Does that suit you?
We've won here. We won here last year, but I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the circuit. But the circuit we come back to after the wedding is Glenny Gores, and we're quick there. It's my circuit. It's a driver's circuit. Fast flowing. You're either quick or you're not. And we're quick. We're quick there. So we'll come back again, like I said, like we did last time, and show him who's boss.
Well, to do that, Joe, you're going to have to do some hard work. You're starting 8th on the grid. Ben Yeomans and Sam Fisher on the front row. His first time in the championship, so good to see him on the front row. Adam Nichols and Barnaby Pittingale on row 2 from Jim Rainbird and Peter Mills, with Richardson alongside Patterson, and a very competitive grid. Keep an eye on Mark Lawrence and Brian Trott out of position in the mid-pack, and Carl Churchill and Sam Dimolo in P22 and P23. They'll be fighting from the back, and it looks as if the number 3's in trouble already. I think Churchill's in trouble as the race gets underway. The 2-4 Team Yeomans, and that's Patterson going off across the chicane. The clerk at the course was watching that, and look, he's gone straight onto the radio. Under investigation, missing the chicane. Now he's handing places back, so he's handed back 1, 2, 3, 4 places, so he's in 5th at the moment. Yeomans is first from Fisher, Pittingale, Nichols, and then Patterson. Now, Patterson started P8. He's now in P5, so he's given positions back, but has he given back enough? Now, the clerk of the course who saw that and went straight on the radio, he's got some serious questions to ask himself here. It looks like Pittingale making a move up to 2nd place on the inside at Raymond's, past Fisher. Very nicely done. Pittingale gets into 2nd, and Nichols trying to follow through. Now, the clerk of the course has got a job and a half here. We're on board with Patterson, with Nichols in front of us. He's 4th in both the championship and the race, but the clerk of the course has got some serious work to do here to judge whether Patterson is legal or not. Well, he's up to 4th place, just behind Fisher. That's his first appearance in the championship, the 2-3-3. Now, the clerk of the course has got some serious questions to ask about that incident at the first lap. Was he punted off, therefore having to miss the chicane? I'm not so sure he was. How many places did he give back? Well, the answer to that is 4, and he should really, for my money, have been giving back 7 places. So that has to be taken into account. Has he lost it and driven through rather than recover the kart in the same place? That's another question to take into account. And also, could he have turned it round and rejoined at the back of the field? So all of that has got to be taken into consideration. We don't know what the decision will be. We're just going to have to watch the race, see it play out, and see what happens. So at the moment, Fisher holding on to this 3rd position, with Joe Patterson knocking on the door, trying to come through into a top 3 position. But he's going to have that niggling around at the back of his mind there. Have I transgressed in a way? Am I going to get a penalty here? But he can't afford to focus on that. He's just got to get on with his race and keep pushing forward. So out in front, still, Yeomans is your leader in the 2-1-4. Fisher, 3rd position, trying to defend as Pittingale is starting to pull away. That Stig elbow. He's out of the race, unfortunately. Well, certainly off the circuit. He looks as if he's trying to recover it. But all eyes are on this at the front. Pittingale, Fisher, Patterson and Nichols. Now, Joe Patterson, we know already that this season is going to be a little bit shorter than most, because he's going to have to miss around, as we heard, for family commitments. By the way, family commitments is code for my mechanic is marrying my sister. So there you go, that's what that means. But because of that, he now cannot afford a bad round. He has to score well at every round. And is that incident going to bite him in the backside? We'll have to see as they work their way through the chicane, up at the Dell and into Diggers, the tight right-hander. Very close indeed at the front, but it's even closer further back. And Pittingale has got Fisher right on his tail now. He can't even think about getting closer to Yeomans because he's got a huge train of carts on his tail. And he's having to slide his way through the S's at the first part of the lap, through the hook, and up towards the bomber straight once again. Look at the lead Yeomans has got in the early stages. He has really taken this advantage and run away with it. Absolutely brilliant stuff from the front. But Fisher, in his first appearance of the 2015 season, he looks as if he's been there since day one, isn't he? He's absolutely cracking performance at the moment, trying to hold off Patterson and Nichols, and they're in 6th position, just behind the fusion colours of the 140 of Adam Nichols is Peter Mills in 6th place. Joe Richardson there in 7th. We're on board with Patterson once again, looking to Fisher. Are we going to make a move into Raymond's? We're thinking about it. We're not quite going to make the move that time round. But Fisher is having a look at Pittingale, and if he doesn't get that move done, Patterson can take advantage and nip through on the inside. Oh, very close indeed off the apex, but I have a feeling into Surtees he's going to have an opportunity. Slices up the inside and moves up into 3rd position. So he is right on the tail of Pittingale now, looking at an opportunity to get into 2nd position. So Patterson really charging hard here, and they've got a huge amount of work to do to close up on Yeomans. So 2nd Pittingale, 3rd Patterson, 4th Fisher, 5th Nichols, 6th is Mills, and then Richardson is there in 7th position. And these two are actually closing up on this battle. It's turning into a 6-cart battle royale here, and nobody knows who's going to win it. Nichols up the inside of Fisher, very nicely done, into Raymond's, and he has the nerve again to signal to him. Come on, let's get after these guys. So Patterson right on Barnaby Pittingale, 2 very hard chargers, these two, very closely matched. Patterson having a look again, and interesting to see what's going on behind them, to see how much progress Dimolo is making through the field. Of course, he's right at the back of this grid, and he's now having to fight his way through. So we'll have a look in a minute and see whereabouts he's getting to. Oh, just a little bit too close to the rumble strip on the outside line there. That will have lost him a couple of fractions of a second, but he is pushing very hard indeed. Oh dear. The clerk of the course has deliberated, and it's gone against Joe Patterson on this occasion. So he has decided then that he missed a section of the lap and could have recovered it rather than driven across. Therefore, he has now been, standard procedure is to dock him 1 lap, and that is exactly what has happened. Now we've got a digital display screen here at Llandow. He'll see that penalty. He makes the move on Barnaby Pittingale for 2nd place, but it's going to be academic because now he's there. He is now a lap adrift. He is in last place, and he has no idea at this point. But, oh dear, Joe Patterson, his season has just taken a severe hammer blow. And that penalty is being shown on the digital screen on the start-finish line, the new system they have here at Llandow. He's going to see it this time by, and I have a feeling he is going to be enraged. He comes into Raymond's, and there it is. There's the blue signal on the sign there. And he will see that, and that is going to send his heart plunging to his boots there. Joe Patterson, his season just took a real turn for the worse, unfortunately. Let's look at it again. There's the penalty being displayed to cart number 1. That is Joe Patterson. He goes through, and he sees it, so he knows. He probably doesn't know the extent of the penalty, but he knows that he is going to be penalised in some way. The only thing he can do at this point is keep pushing, keep going, because as far as he's concerned, it could be a 5-second penalty, it could be a time penalty, and no doubt he will appeal it afterwards. All racing drivers appeal most penalties in the world of motor racing. You wouldn't be a racing driver if you didn't. There will be an inquiry after the race. So for now, he's just got to keep going, keep pushing, and get the best result he can, and we'll see what happens afterwards. But for the moment, it is definitely not going to plan for Joe Patterson. Meanwhile, Pittingale and Nichols have closed right up on him. Retirements in this race so far. Jamie Wheatley out on the 1st lap. Stig Elboth, we saw him going off. Unfortunately, he didn't complete the 2nd lap. And Churchill, we saw he had problems on the rolling lap. He managed to complete 5 laps before finally calling it a day. Very tough day at the office for those 3. Unusual to see so many out of the race so early, but it doesn't always go your way. And in Joe Patterson's case, he's about to find out in about 15 to 20 minutes' time. It definitely hasn't gone his way. But Yeomans, it's looking plain sailing out in front. There's Pittingale, the man who currently is in 2nd place. 3rd on the road, of course, but in 2nd position, just in front of Nichols, courtesy of that penalty for Patterson. But let's not forget, he's a racing driver, and therefore he can and almost certainly will appeal that decision. So if that is overturned and he is successful, he is currently sitting in second place, no matter what the adjudication says at the moment. So he's still going to keep pushing for it. I will be interested, though, to hear what his explanation will be for handing back 4 places to rejoin in 5th position, not 7 places to rejoin in 8th position where he originally started from. He may well say, I got punted from behind, I had no control. So that well could be what we end up hearing from him, but that's for afterwards. We just have to go with what we see on track at the moment. Patterson still there, trying to get away from Pittingale and Nichols. This man, large and in charge out in front. Yeomans has been absolutely dominant so far in this race, and this is a golden opportunity to throw his own sword into the ring here, really, to go for the championship. He's got a great chance of getting some fantastic points here. Great victory on the horizon, and with Patterson missing around, and if this appeal isn't successful, that's a huge thorn in the side there. He's got a great chance to overhaul Patterson even in the championship fight in the upcoming rounds. So this battle for 3rd position is still very intense as we look further down the field. It's a very long line of carts battling. Nichols has made a slight mistake there into Raymond's, and this is going to be Fisher's chance. Can he overhaul him? Not quite. He's not close enough, but that has given Pittingale, look, a break of about 3 to 4 cart lengths out of the corner there. So already a very strong challenge. And as a result of that mistake from Nichols, Mills has caught up to Fisher, Fisher has caught up to Nichols, and Nichols is desperately trying to get back on terms with Pittingale, but he's already made it there. Have you noticed? That little gap that was lost, he's already caught him right up again. So they're fairly evenly paced at the moment. Patterson second, then it's Pittingale, Nichols, Fisher, Mills, and then comes Richardson from Gordon and Dimolo, so up to 9th for Dimolo. Churchill is 10th. From Port, Rainbird, Friday, Ben Nichols, Lawrence, and then Steve Nichols just in front of the number 2 of Brian Trott in 17th position. As is typical in Easykart, great battles from the front of the field to the back. No matter where you are in the race, you are in the midst of a battle. And that's what's so fantastic about it from a driver's point of view. That's why it's such a fun atmosphere in the paddock in this championship. You've always got someone to race with. And the easy in Easykart, I suppose you could really put that down to it's easy to have fun in this series. It is absolutely amazing just to see the level of competition, how closely matched all the drivers are. Here's Peter Mills in the 136 just going through. Started P6, and that's where he currently is. Sam Dimolo, however, he's worked his way through. He's up into P9 at the moment, so he is doing a cracking job. He's just sat at the moment on the gearbox of Kieran Gordon, trying to make his way through. But it looks like it's this man who's going to see the checkered flag before anybody else right now. Yeomans out in front. There is Patterson. He has managed to clear Pittingale and Nichols. He's got himself about a 6-cart length gap at the moment. So he is there in second position on the road. He looks back, just making sure he's got enough space to deal with. Nichols, obviously in terms of that penalty, this is about of a 2nd place, not 3rd. But we don't really know what the ramifications of that appeal that is coming are going to be. So as far as we're concerned right now, it's for 3rd. On the timesheets it'll be for 2nd place. But they are very close together, these two. Very tight indeed. And it's worth remembering that not only has Patterson seen that penalty board go up on the start-finish line, so has Pittingale, so has Nichols, so has Fisher, and so has Mills. So all of them know that they are bare minimum at this moment racing for 2nd place because, let's be honest, they don't know what the penalty is either, but it's got to be at least a place, bare minimum. So from their point of view, they probably know already that they are racing for 2nd position. They're probably not too bothered what happens to Patterson right now. They're battling with each other, and it looked to me as though Pittingale just gesturing to Nichols, come on, let's push each other a little bit further forward here. Let's have a bit of a battle. Is Nichols going to respond, or is he going to go for an overtake? Again, he signals, come on, let's catch them. Nichols, no thanks, I'm going for 2nd place actually. Pittingale has a little bit of a nerf in the bumper there. I'm not sure he was expecting him to come by there actually. It's a difficult situation when you're a racing driver at this level because you make that call, you make that signal to the guy behind, and you're relying on them seeing that signal and then complying to get your next move done. Within a couple of seconds, though, Nichols deciding, no, your plan doesn't work. Mine's better, so let's go for it. So now he looks behind Pittingale and he's actually setting off into the distance now. He doesn't want to work with the drivers behind him. He wants to clear off and get a bare minimum of 2nd position from his point of view. Third place Pittingale. Fisher and Mills are close in behind. Richardson has fallen away from this little scrap, unfortunately for him. But Fisher, in his first weekend, is battling with Nichols and Pittingale. That's not bad for your first weekend in the season. He is right up at the sharp end. And let's not forget either that he started this race in second place, having been second in the pre-final. Dimolo, fastest lap of the race, a 44.6, so charging his way through the field and firmly in the top 10 now. So Nichols still trying to stretch away from Pittingale. And look, he was right to make the overtake. He was right because he has now gained at least 4 to 5 kart lengths. So sitting behind Pittingale was definitely hampering his chances there. He's been able to get clear. I wonder, has Pittingale got some kind of an issue with the kart developing because he is not able to keep the same pace as Nichols in a straight line? Either that or he's just had a couple of poor laps and that has brought him off the tail. 2 laps to go. And this battle for second place still very hard indeed. Patterson in the 1, still on the road, still second on the road, and still trying to close up on Yeomans, because you never know. If he manages to catch him and pass him and take the win on the road, if the appeal is successful, that'll be a win he gets back just before he takes a round off. So it's definitely still worth fighting for Patterson, even though he's been penalised. And the thing is, again, he doesn't know what the penalty is for certain. Big slide into the dell for Pittingale. He had to save that one with some opposite lock, and Fisher has obviously seen that as an opportunity. He might be able to see that Barnaby Pittingale, world champion or not, you're struggling. It's up to me now to try and get that final step on the podium from his point of view. Into the last lap, and Yeomans has driven an absolute masterclass of a race. Even Patterson can't catch him now. 2-1-4, way out in front. He looks absolutely nailed to that circuit. He's not put a wheel wrong in this entire race, and this is a critical moment in the championship for this kind of dominant display from Yeomans. It throws his name right into the ring for the victory in the championship as well. It's a critical moment in a critical tipping point in the championship, really, I suppose, especially if Patterson's appeal isn't upheld and he has to miss a round and take a lap penalty. Yeomans is now right in the hunt for the championship, into the final turn and across the finish line. What a drive from Ben Yeomans. Patterson is second on the road. Who's second behind? It is Nichols, in front of Barnaby Pittingale. Sam Fisher fourth ahead of Peter Mills. Joe Richardson in sixth from Sam Dimolo. Great drive back from him in front of Kieran Gordon. Ken Churchill and Sean Port rounding out the top 10. We don't know the decision from the appeal yet, but as it stands at the moment, it's a dominant victory from Ben Yeomans, and John Viger caught up with him afterwards.
Very quick chat, Ben. I mean, I think I just talked about the final a little bit. Tell me about your day, though.
Well, sticking it on pole obviously helps, and then if you can get a good start, which I didn't in the pre-final, you can just hopefully drive away. But that happened in the main final, which is the main thing. Got a nice big gap early on. After lap 11, I heard a hissing sound, and I was worried about my engine popping. So I started to coast down all the straights because I knew I had such a big gap. Obviously, if they were on me, I would have just taken the chance. But that was a little bit worrying. Even though I had a big gap, it was actually a nerve-wracking race for me.
Absolutely, but the engine was saved in the day, and it's all fine and good to go at Rowra?
Yes, it's fine. I'm getting Andy to double-check it over for me.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you're up there this year now. I mean, there's 3 podium finishes now in the finals, and picked up some good championship points. I mean, we don't know what the championship looks like, but I think you're looking confident, and I'm sure you're feeling confident.
Yeah, I'm feeling confident, and hopefully, if I can keep going the way I am, I should be up there at the end, hopefully.
Arguably the most competitive championship in Easykart in 2015, the Masters, with Pittingale and Richardson not far off the top 3 at all. Nichols on 899 points, just 9 away from Sam Dimolo, who's only 1 behind our new championship leader, Ben Yeomans. We return to Easykart in mid-July at Glannagors Park in North Wales. We'll see you then.